Hello everyone, Matt Creepypasta here, and welcome back to another Creepypasta vid. Today in this video, we're going to discover the lost episode of Superman No Heroes. Before we start this video, make sure to subscribe. Want more videos? Put in the comments, subscribe, and enjoy my children. We all heard about haunted video games, lost episodes of beloved cartoons or TV shows. But there was always been a minimum that until recently seemed to have been imbued to such a tale, the humble comic book. Now, before you ask, I don't for 1 second believe that there is a massive conspiracy or something hidden, reasons for the events I'm about to share with you. And I think what happened was an example of something that has no reason, no grand scheme. It simply happened. I hope it never happens again. So what happened, I'll tell you. I am a collector of DC comics, and as such, I have always had a soft spot for Superman. Anyone who's into comics knows that some titles go into dark and disturbing imagery, so when strange or gruesome things occur, most rightfully dismissed it as a part of a story. This was how I first reacted when I got my hands on what I believe to be a new Superman title named No Heroes. The cover was completely black, and the Superman logo was broken and decayed looking. Again, I thought this was all part of the story. I flipped through a few pages because of purchasing, and to my surprise, it was a fairly standard Superman book. So I brought it without much thought. Taking it home with me, sat down and began to read the comic in more detail. As soon as I opened it, I was greeted with artwork that was drastically different from what I had seen at a glance in the story. Everything was a red tint to it, and the characters were all angry and battered looking. Superman especially looked extremely menacing. As I read the text appearing on the speech bubble, I admit I was pretty shocked. This was not marked as a mature title, and DC had until fairly recently been pretty uptight about how Superman was and was not to be portrayed, making what I read pretty confusing, to say the least. Heroes ain't real. It's all fake. Everything's a fucking lie. People aren't going to serve you. They'll watch you bleeding. You deserve to die. Life is a fatal disease which slowly eats us away. You're not perfect. You're not a hero. Again and again, I read these mysterious lines. It was unusual for dramatic works such as a comic to add moments like this, but as I continued to read, I couldn't help but feel this was very off for a Superman book. Not a single word was encouraging or hope was to be found. All titular, I don't know. Heroes just kept silent as everyone around him spewed forth words or hate and despair. The artwork was increasingly disturbing, which each new page, until eventually I began questioning if this was some kind of joke. Superman walked down the street to Metro Metro, I don't know. And obviously the rotting bodies of many heroes and villains from the comic book. To my surprise, some characters were not even DC owned. After a while, the story grew violent as Superman began to destroy what was left of Metropolis. Destruction more graphic than normal, even in the more extreme edition of the comics. So Metropolis was destroyed, and a 2-page panel depicted the carnage bodies laying on the street. What looked like children impaled on spikes formed by debris, and figures hanging lifelessly from a noose tied to a street lamps, and signs post. Finally, the comic ended with a full panel page of Superman staring directly ahead as if looking to the reader, a speech bubble pointedly stating, "For years, you watched us suffer. Now it's time. Now it's your turn, hero." I couldn't quite understand that what that meant. At the time, I was still a bit disturbed by the whole comic, so promptly put the thing away, never gave it a second glance. After such horrific comic, I decided I needed a change of a pace. So, got out one of my old Batman comics, the old and goofy version of The Dark Knight. Most people hate, but I, somewhat ashamed, have always rather enjoyed. I read the comics. It's old humor and the camp style, a refreshing difference from the horror of the mysterious, the minister of the no heroes. This was how I always remembered classic DC comics, fun and enjoyable. I got through the comic and had just opened it. A page when my eyes grew wider with shock. I almost dropped the comic book as I saw in my utter belief, a full page of panels of Superman in his disturbing art style, and started once more for the comic page. The promotional speech bubble stated, "You don't get to be happy, hero." Well, well, that was a very creepy one. If y'all want more videos, like and subscribe, and make sure you enjoy more children.